Good evening, Bande. Today, 2nd of August 2022, I am very happy uh, to see you, to know you when we are stayed together in Serbia at the Oxford Buddha Vihara monastery. I am very glad to see the veteran monks as a Theravada Buddhist monks. So I am Wappa from Shan State in the Union of Myanmar. So I just arrived here over 2 months, mostly 3 months. So let me know your name and your birth of place and where did you ordain or something like that. So may I
Sure.
invite
Um,
to introduce?
so my name is Venerable Thariyo Bhikkhu, and I was ordained in England, Upasampada, in the Ajahn Chah Thai forest tradition, which is very popular in the West, in Europe. And I lived there for 6 years, and lived in Sri Lanka for 6 years, and now in Serbia for 8 months as a monk. And originally I come from South Africa, is my birthplace, which is not a Buddhist country, which doesn't have any monasteries. Maybe some, what do you call it? Not Dhammayut, but there are some Thai temples in South Africa, but not really monasteries. Dhammakaya temples only. But I wanted to be a monk, a practicing monk, living in the forest, or living in accordance with the suttas. Like the monks live in the suttas, I want to do that as best as I can.
So my second question is about how is the way of living in England? How is this? Where did you experience last many years ago?
In the monasteries in England, you would think that maybe it will be difficult as a monk to live in England and not a Buddhist country, but it's not actually very difficult. I think many years ago it was difficult, but now people are used to Buddhism. They know Buddhism. So the monasteries there are doing very well. Big monasteries, lots of people becoming monks and nuns, lots of interest from people. And so to be a monk in England, it is quite easy. Maybe even too easy. The monasteries, when they become very rich, they can become very luxurious, and people can get very lazy. So even if you become a monk, sometimes you become even more lazy because things are too comfortable, too easy. You got too many things. There's no difficulty.
No difficult.
Yeah. You get all the food that you want, the best house that you want, the best clothing. Everybody loves you. Nobody fights with you. Everything is wonderful. And so you can when things are too comfortable, then you can become lazy, and then you don't want to practice. You don't try to practice.
So how about the ambient around to get food in the city?
You can do pindapata, alms round, in England,
In England.
but it's a bit different than it is. It's very different, more than it is in Thailand or Sri Lanka or Myanmar. In Buddhist countries, you can go to the village, and you can, people know that what you want, and you can just walk, and people just give. They just give food. But in England, you have to go to the village and just stand. In Europe, you have to just, or in America, same. You have to just stand in the town, in the village, and wait, not walk, and maybe wait 2 hours.
Maybe 2 hours
to
get food.
To get something. But when you get, people give a lot. So, but you have to stand for a long time. But then you walk away with many things. Or enough, your bowl is full. You have enough food for that day. So it's not like you won't get food, but it takes a long time. So it is very difficult to live like that. Pindapata in Europe. But you can do that for 1 month, 2 months, maybe come back to your monastery and then do again. You can do.
Okay, thank you. So next question is about how many countries do you experience as a Buddhist monk? Yeah.
How many countries have I been in?
Yes.
Since I've been a Buddhist? Well, as I said, I haven't been to Thailand or Myanmar, but Sri Lanka, Serbia, England, and South Africa. So South Africa was also very interesting. Everybody's looking at you. They're trying to understand what you are, because there are no monks in Africa, South Africa. So it's a very strange thing. Many people think you are some kind of witch doctor or priest of some kind. But people are still nice to you, very nice. I didn't get into any trouble. Nobody gave me problems. But I think I did go pindapata in Africa, and that was very difficult. Not many people want you to stand near the shops on the road. They don't want you to be there. They don't want you to be begging for food or money or something. They don't understand I'm not asking for money, that I'm looking for food, but they don't want me to be there. So that's in South Africa, that's a bit difficult. To survive in South Africa, you need to have some support, a different kind of support from other Buddhist people.
So how about in Sri Lanka?
Sri Lanka is very easy.
Very easy. Even for alms rounds?
It's excellent for alms rounds, for living in the forest, for wandering around the island. As a monk, you can wander, walk around, and there's many little temples. You can stay in the forest, and there's lots of forest. You can stay anywhere in the forest. Everyone will help you. It's very nice. It's a very good place for monks still.
How about the weather in Sri Lanka? Is it as an experience?
Yeah, the weather is hot, which is difficult for many Westerners. I think some we can handle. Can handle it.
Even in the forest, is it still hot?
Different forests, different temperature. Some forests very hot, some forests very cold. I stayed in cold forests. I just find that better. But I've lived in very hot forests, and it is difficult. Many mosquitoes.
Did you live in forest or in any cave?
Yes, many. We stayed in a very big forest
Big
near a
forest.
village, and I've stayed in other forests
I see.
in other parts of Sri Lanka, and we've walked through forest and lived in caves for a few days. Or you live in one cave, then you move, stay in another forest, move to the next.
I see.
You can do many things like that. You can go from forest, Pindapata in the village, to the next forest, and you can have just a tent to do some camping, which is like a kuti.
Oh,
You know,
I
your
see.
meditation kuti you can carry with you.
I see.
And you go into the forest, stick that up,
Oh,
live in that, go to the village, and do that all the time. You don't have to stay in a monastery or a
I
temple.
see.
You can carry your monastery with you.
It means that you experience different place, even in the cave or any place up in the forest.
Yeah. It's a very nice lifestyle.
Okay. So, thank you. So, finally, what is the most good experience from your experience in different country, and what would you like to share for people to know as a forest Buddhist monk?
I mean, I don't really have a particular experience. Just the lifestyle, the whole lifestyle is a good experience. The whole monastic monk lifestyle is a good experience. If you give up these sensual pleasures of the world, then you have a good experience. Your experience is good. If you keep sila, you keep sense restraint, sangvara, sila, sangvara, you have good experience. You know, in general, you have a very good experience. So, yeah. Being virtuous or keeping sila is a wonderful thing. Before, when you don't keep virtue, when you don't have sila, life is difficult. You're always getting into trouble. There's always problems. The only joy that you have is from watching a movie, having some party, drinking. But that's like a little happiness. But if you leave all that behind, you let go of that, let go of those things, and you keep sila, then your happiness is
more and more. So
because you don't need anything from the world anymore. You have simple clothes, simple food, simple house.
So it means that keeping sila is the most important in our daily life. So as nowadays, many people can avoid that what we said to purify our morality. So how to reduce to doing something bad?
The most important thing is to ask yourself, what am I doing in my life? What do I want? Is what I am doing going to make me happy? Is what I'm doing going to make me more sad, more suffering? And fighting with people, lying to people, stealing, talking bad about people, gossiping, having many sexual relationships, activities, drinking, is that making you happy? You have to ask yourself those questions so that you can get the answer that sila or morality is much better. It will lead to peace. But if you don't ask yourself those questions, then you can't keep sila. You won't keep sila. Why? You don't even think about it. All you think about is drinking on Friday night, finding a girlfriend, finding a boyfriend, enjoying yourself, getting a nice car, looking good, looking beautiful, so you can get, money. What job will you get? How much money can you have? What kind of food can you get? Is good food making you happy? Overall, you have a nice food one day, and now for 7, 8 months, 9 months, you're very happy. No, you eat, you feel stomach full, and then gone. Next day, do the same thing. Doesn't make you happy long term. Doesn't make you happy.
So you mean that everyone need to analyze individual emotion?
Investigate your intentions.
Investigate.
Analyze your intentions. Question your actions. Like the advice the Buddha gave to his son, Rahula. Ask before you do something, why am I doing? Why am I going to do this? Is it good for me? Is it good for him? Is it good for both of us? And when you're doing something, you ask yourself the same question. Is what I'm doing good for me? For him? For both? Does it lead to nibbana? Does it lead to wisdom? And when you finish doing something, you must think, when I did that thing, did it make me happy? Did it lead me to nibbana, to peace? Is it good for him? Is it good for both of us? And if the answer is no, then you mustn't do those things anymore. If the answer is yes, then keep doing it.
So you mean that everyone should make question by themselves?
Yeah, you should question
ourselves. You should
yourself.
Make question.
Yeah. Question your actions.
To know ourselves. Right?
Exactly. Because if you don't do that, if you can't think properly, then you won't do the right things. You will do the wrong things. You will do whatever makes you get pleasure and stay away from pain. Whatever you can get that's going to give you pleasure, that's what you will go for. And that's not always right.
So this kind of idea is something like Buddhist philosophy as well. And also we can say that it's the path of meditation to know ourselves and to be better purified by ourselves.
Yeah, to purify our minds of those wrong, bad things.
And
to do that, you need to be able to recognize what is bad, what is good. And you can't recognize that if you don't ask yourself what is good, what is bad.
After we know, so we should change our behavior.
Yeah. This is like vipassana, questioning, investigating. What am I doing? Why am I a monk? What do I want to achieve? Why am I asking these questions? And so on. Everything.
Am I happy or not? Or something.
Yeah, and why? Why am I not happy? Why am I suffering? What's the problem? I've been Buddhist for 30 years, but I'm still suffering. So I haven't understood Buddhism. Why? Because I haven't questioned myself. I haven't asked myself, what is suffering? What is the cause of suffering? What am I doing that is making me suffer? I haven't even tried to investigate Four Noble Truths. So that really is essential. If you cannot think properly and question yourself, question your actions, then you cannot keep sila. And without sila, your mind is completely closed, clouded, confused. And you cannot understand the Four Noble Truths. You can read the Four Noble Truths in a book, but you cannot understand it. Because your mind has no sila. It's not clean enough to understand things.
So the most important thing is to keep pure morality, sila, and well, continue to be peace of mind and a better understanding in our life is similar to the path of the Buddhist teaching, the noble eightfold path, sila, samadhi, and panya. So what we are talking about is equal to the teaching of the Four Noble Truths.
Yeah. That's the most important thing to understand for a Buddhist. Well, it should be. You want to be free from suffering forever. You don't just want to be comfortable now. You want to be free from suffering forever, so that you can never suffer again, ever. So that suffering is not possible for you ever again. That's what you want to achieve as a Buddhist. Not just to be living a comfortable life and being able to live with your suffering, to cope with your suffering, to deal with your suffering. The goal is to not suffer at all, so that you don't have to live with your suffering or deal with your suffering.
It means that we don't need to fight with the suffering, and we don't need to run away from the suffering.
Yeah.
So it means that we need to train ourselves to stay and understand about the suffering.
Yeah. To remove the cause of suffering.
To remove it.
Yeah, to remove the cause, which is tanha. Yeah. You want to remove that, and then you cannot suffer anymore. Then you don't have to be a Buddhist anymore. You don't have to do meditation, because you are free. You can leave Buddhism behind. You don't need to do anything. That's the goal. Mm-hmm. So why do you become a Buddhist monk? Why do you do anything you do? It's because you don't want to suffer. And to achieve that, you must understand the Four Noble Truths and get rid of craving.
Okay. Thank you very much for your answer and for your explanation about the way of living, being in Buddhist monk, and also the way of living in our daily life for everyone in the world. So once again, thank you very much.